Preaching on it, yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the one and only Big Guy Fantasy Sports Network. Big shout out to our CEO, owner, operator, Bob Long. Man, we got to thank this man for the opportunity. We are on episode 4 and haven't been canceled yet. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what it is. Hey, be sure to check out our website, BigGuyFantasySports.com. You can check out this podcast, all of our other podcasts that are on the Big Guy Fantasy Sports Network, all through BigGuyFantasySports.com. You can also check out all of our consistency tools. Check out our consistency guide. Check out all of our articles from all of our writers and much, much more. The team is steady growing. The familia is steady growing. Make sure you guys get with the family. Join the Big Guy Fantasy Sports family. Woo! It's been a long day, and I deserve this. So before we get into anything else, I'm having a fucking beer. Yeah?
Facts. Yeah. I got me a little, we call this spiked seltzered water. You know what I mean? Trying to watch the boyish figure.
Oh, you mean the stuff that smells like the that tastes like the static on the TV?
Hey, it's less calories.
It is less calories. I'll give that. You got to watch your girlish figure, Taco.
Especially at my advanced age.
So facts. Crazy weekend throughout the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. This is a fantasy football podcast. This is a NFL podcast. Welcome to the live stream. Pull up a seat. We have a lot to talk about. Whether you are 0-2, 1-2, or well, I'm sorry, you'd technically be 0-3, 1-2, so on and so forth. If you're 3-0, fucking baller. Still tune in, still check out the show. Albert, what is good, brother? A lot is going on. Either way, we are going to help you get to that championship, irregardless of your fantasy football record. First thing that I want to get into, man. Let's just go. I want to get into the headlines. I know backstage was like, we're gonna go right into waiver wire pickups. I want to kind of break up, the ice a little bit, let people kind of pile into the live stream a little bit here. Headlines across the NFL this past weekend, and even heading into today. The New York Jets bring on Trevor Siemian to the practice squad. Starting, it's a little late, I guess you feel. What are your thoughts on them finally bringing in a veteran quarterback, Taco? And Taco is muted. So my thoughts on us having, how did his mic can't unmute your guest because they chose to mute themselves? Okay. My thoughts on Trevor Siemian being the veteran presence in that quarterback room. One, Zach Wilson definitely needs it. Two, of all of the quarterbacks that you could have grabbed, J. Cole penning a letter for Kaepernick to the New York Jets. Cam Newton's still out there. You could probably go and get him. I'm sure he would want to, take a break from the podcast and maybe come back and play some football. There was other veterans I felt that the Jets could have went out and grabbed. Maybe not some of the greatest of names, but Trevor Siemian, he's a guy. He can go out there and play football. No need for you guys to run and go and get him on your fantasy rosters, though, until further notice. Waiting on Taco to get his microphone set up. How this happened, I really don't know. Great job, Taco. Couple of other headlines. Obviously, we have, as you see the title of the episode, Shake It Off, which is what all of you are going to do. Whether especially if you lost in fantasy football this past week, these past couple of weeks. We're definitely going to help you shake it off. T Swizzy, kind of, not even kind of dating Travis Kelce. That a big headline as well. Let's see here. Outside of that's really the biggest news stories. Joshua Dobbs had to basically force the Arizona Cardinals to put his jersey into the team shop. That's
how about though the tweet battle that he had with Micah Parsons and himself, where he does a little thing where Micah Parsons, I'm gonna be throwing darts at the board on him, and he has
Joshua Dobbs dodging darts.
I thought that was so like that alone is gonna make this kid kind of like give him standing going forward. Like that little viral moment made people like, oh, his kid's kind of funny and he's not that bad. You know what I mean?
I gave Dobbs a follow on TikTok.
How about this?
That. I'm not going to front.
How bad do the Jets look for not securing a guy like that towards the end of training camp, like the Cardinals did? Imagine if the Jets would have did that before the season started. Use like a 7th fucking round pick to have a guy like that. So when in case Rodgers went down, who he looks so much better than Zach Wilson. Let's also make that point. So much better than Zach Wilson.
No, Dobbs has been looking pretty interesting. I actually do. This is a perfect time to where we can get into waiver wire pickups. Now that your mic is working, I had to stall for 5 minutes.
Hey, let's not bring up episode 1.
Hey, I'm just saying. Joshua Dobbs, 2 QB leagues. Rosterable or no? In 2 QB, obviously not rosterable in single QB formats.
For the time being, I would almost say you have to, because like tomorrow someone can get hurt and then you're like having to put Fab in for a guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like in those kind of leagues, I want to be maintaining 3 quarterbacks. If I can grab someone with an extra spot, I mean, let's face it, there's been injuries out there. If you have someone with like Zach Wilson, I would easily pivot for a Dobbs for now and kind of figure it out as we go, because Zach Wilson's not startable. So clearly right there, you're talking about in 2 QB leagues, you're talking about 24 QBs, and he's already QB 30. That's what, 6 spots away from starting. Yeah, he shouldn't be on your wire. If he's there, you grab him. We still haven't seen Kyler Murray like say officially when he's coming back. Sounds like week 5 he's not even going to be back. So we just don't know. And in that kind of ambiguity, take the guy while he's riding and just see what happens.
With Kyler, we were already expecting this to be possibly a 6-week thing. Kyler has been posting a lot on social media, and he doesn't do that too often. In the manner of which he has been lately, kind of showing how much he misses the game, how much he has that itch to get back out there. Dobbs, he's QB 21 right now. 62 overall player in fantasy football. He's 6% rostered, 2% started. If injuries keep happening to quarterbacks, I think that this is a guy that's worth rostering in a two quarterback system. In a 2 QB league, I feel like this is a guy that I'm willing to grab if something happens to my starter. I'm not expecting to probably win as many fantasy football games, but at least I have someone that could go out there, fill the spot, maybe do enough to keep me afloat and win some football games.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I mean, think about it. Would you rather have him or some of these other guys like Ritter and Stafford, who they're putting up like their pedestrian numbers? It's not like you can't do much better. And we saw, particularly in the game versus the Giants, this kid also has a little bit of legs, and he dropped that shoulder to get in the end zone. It was a big boy. So that mobility adds a little bit to his value as well.
Yep. No, absolutely. Who do you have as a waiver wire pickup at the quarterback position? And then we'll get into some of the skill positions.
Waiver wire pickup at the quarterback. I mean, I think as of right now, if CJ Stroud is still available, I think now is the time to go get him. He has been electric to start his career. Immediately, I think you'd have to say only because of injury, he probably is looking like the best quarterback, because Richardson also looked really good with that concussion, killed like half a game for him in last week and then a full game this week. So, CJ Stroud now has had the floor to kind of like show off his passing acumen, and he looks like he could be a dynamic passer. I believe that he has like 900 yards passing and no interceptions yet, which is very impressive for a kid. Like, you know what I mean? Normally the thing on rookies, and even you look at Peyton Manning, interceptions are usually a problem. And so far, he hasn't had much of an issue. Currently in traditional scoring systems, he is QB 12. I see that he's
QB 13, QB 12 around there.
Yeah, I see he's
31 overall,
21% on Yahoo. So if he's available, I just for the rest of the season, he might be a real player because he looks good now, and you would expect that he has room to grow.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I mentioned, QB 13, number 31 overall, 32% roster, 12% started. This is a guy that if I feel like the market kind of on CJ Stroud, we're starting to get a little bit more into the bullish area where we start saying that it's a bull market on CJ Stroud. Again, if you're worrying about your quarterback position, if you got a quarterback that hasn't really been that serviceable for you, you can go pick up QB 13 and then go drop that other guy. They do have to face Pittsburgh next week, but then they get Atlanta, New Orleans, and then a bye, and then followed by Carolina. So a couple of okay matchups coming up there, and this is a Texas team that so far is playing better than I feel like what a lot of people expected. We're definitely seeing the D'Amico Ryans effect.
Yeah. I got a question for you in there before we round this out. Quick one. Who would you rather start this week, CJ Stroud or Trevor Lawrence? Trevor Lawrence is facing Atlanta in London, though. That's the dynamic that we have to add in there. In London,
yep.
And CJ Stroud is 1 p.m. versus Pittsburgh.
They played in London last year, didn't they? Jacksonville.
So. Yep.
What was the outcome of that?
I do not remember, but I don't remember many of these London games being super high scoring.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, London games traditionally aren't high scoring. It's overseas. It's London. It's Trevor Lawrence. What is that Atlanta defense? You drafted Trevor Lawrence with the intention that Sunshine was going to go out there and win you a fantasy football championship. Fantasy football is a week-to-week game. I'm probably going to start Lawrence just because of the matchup. But Stroud deserves to maybe be brought up in that argument, especially when we look at what he's done over the past 2 weeks, and we look at the fact that he's QB 13 on the year through 3 games. And I know a lot of people are like, "What the fuck is 3 games?" ASD, what's good? What's good? We're just gonna call you Hop by your last 3. What's up, Hop? Would you trade Kamara and Godwin for Cooper Kupp? I'm probably holding on to Kamara, especially with him coming back. Yes, Robbie went ahead and slid him into a starting lineup today. I'm holding on to Kamara, especially with how barren the running back position has been lately and some of the injuries. We got guys running out there blowing fab at the running back position more than any other position, which we're going to get into momentarily. I'm holding on to those 2 pieces. We don't know how much Puka Nacua has ate into Cooper Kupp so far. We don't know how much Cooper Kupp is going to eat into Puka Nacua. At this given moment, in terms of the Rams, I am maintaining my Cooper Kupp shares for when he comes back healthy. I am maintaining my Puka Nacua shares. I'm maintaining my Tutu Atwell shares. If anything, with this situation, maybe the guy that's in that league that has Puka begins to start fielding some offers and seeing how much he can get back. And maybe hopefully everyone else in the league is thinking that Cooper Kupp is an afterthought. But for you, for your position, keep the 2, let him have the 1.
Yeah, even dynasty or redraft, I would go on this side of Kamara and Godwin. Right now, we've yet to hear him even ramping up. We don't hear any news about Cooper Kupp right now. and you heard them say it might be a nerve issue. He was seeing specialists. I'm just very worried and concerned. And to trade a guy that you just held for 3 games who was under suspension and who can come back to a substantial role, although with Jameis Winston, it kind of changes what you expect out of your Kamara shares, because with Carr, you're expecting to get peppered with some more targets than what we saw traditionally on the Winston. But what the thing is, once Carr comes back, you're expecting, Kamara to be probably a top RB, RB2.
Whether it's a Winston or a Carr, which by the way, Winston should be is 100% rosterable. You know what he did in that 30 for 30 year, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. Still won Mad Motherfuckers Fantasy Football Championships. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Jameis Winston is rosterable.
Yes.
Jameis Winston is playable if you lost Carr. Go out there, put the waiver claim in it, and you probably won't have to throw a ton of fab at it.
Even a DFS kind of like, hey, I want to do a cheap quarterback so I can spend on other places. It's not a terrible bet, especially if you're thinking about stacking him with Olave and just getting a little spicy right there. I don't mind that in a DFS setting for the next coming week, if he's going to be going. Like,
no,
that's how much I like Jameis. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like Jameis. Everything from him on and off the field, the man is great. And actually, ironically, already rostered in some leagues that I'm in. Of course, those leagues, sharks involved. There's blood in the water, heavy competitors. In terms of for you guys, for your league, 2% rostered, ladies and gentlemen, 2% rostered. Go get you some Jameis. And they play Tampa in a divisional. Then they go on to New England, Houston, Jacksonville, Indy, Chicago. If things are serious with Carr, Winston can be a gamer for you. Let's see here. I might have a chance to get A-Chain though. I got number 2 waiver priority. I agree with y'all. I also got Saquon and just traded for JT. I don't think I'm in the position of trading a running back. Yeah, running back is something that I would hoard right now. Let value raise week 5 heading into October, because October is when the NFL won. So the NFL, of course, they're going to be approaching their trade deadline. October football is very different than that early September football. September, for a lot of the teams that weren't playing their starters in preseason, kind of getting shit together. Football looks a little sloppy. When Rumtober hits, it's real. It's real. So I'm probably heading into after this week is when at the running back position, that's when I'm really going to start driving trades and pushing, what I got, because you have enough data to where you can sell.
Yeah, and especially if you just made the move for JT, I wouldn't double down and add Cup on there. You now have 2 mega enigmas on your roster, where if you're going in a redraft trying to win for this season, like, they both have huge upside, yes, but there's no point in you killing 2 spots right now with the war of attrition that it looks like this season is going to be.
Facts. Right here, this is a perfect comment to be able to segue into the running backs that we're looking at. We already know. So, Robbie, this is a great topic and honestly hilarious if you know RumboyzRobbie. If you know Robbie, you're going to get a kick out of this, chat. You're going to get a kick out of this. This is going to be hilarious. Not everywhere. Robbie's in about 35, 37 leagues. Not everywhere, though. Last week, if you guys watched the episode, I was like, man, like, I can't really make too many ad drops. Like, I had too much talent to where it was like it didn't make sense to go and get some of the guys that were available. The numbers, the mathematics just weren't adding up. They weren't adding up, right? In a couple of leagues, though, I was like, let me play around. Let me experiment. Went ahead, and I did drop a Shane. I did drop Devin A-Chain. But I also turned around, and we have some waiver wires in this week in some of those same leagues where we dropped them. Shout out to my high school reunion league. We're going to get him back. It's okay. I was high on A-Chain during the off season. I was high on A-Chain heading into the season. Right now, there's an argument. Do you blow all of your fab on A-Chain? Taco and I were on record episode
last week.
Episode three, Taco and I were on air with the Jerome Ford situation following the Nick Chubb injury. And we told you guys, hold off. They're going to go and get Kareem Hunt. We told you guys. We were live on our personal YouTube channel, that we run together on Rumboys, and we were like, as soon as when we were live doing the play-by-play for the game, we were like, this is what's going to happen. This is who they're going to get. They're going to bring in Kareem. They bring in Kareem Hunt, which tells me that Ford isn't going to be the guy. Everyone went out and blew the load on Ford, while meanwhile here at Big Guys Fantasy Sports, we held our fab, and now we have fab to where we can go and get A-Chain. Now we have that fab. What are your thoughts, Taco? What's a good dollar value for A-Chain? Let's also remember we're in week 4 now. So now you can kind of, if you've been saving fab, you can kind of get away with blowing a little bit.
So, for me, I lost Chubb last week in my fab league, and actually Ford was on the wire. So I put in roughly, I want to say like almost 40% of my fab for him. I would probably put roughly the same, maybe a little bit less in my opinion, only because Ford has a clear-cut role to a lot of touches, where with A-Chain, Mostart came in and he's earned himself such a substantial role.
What a comment. He just Mike Tyson that man in that trade.
Yeah.
He Iron Mike that man in that trade. Oh my
God. The other person probably doesn't think that JT is going to come back or something like that, because that's the only way that you do that, especially with the way Zach Moss is. Look, it looks like, oh, okay, JT, you're either going to be traded or you're going to come into a very nice role. But for A-Chain, Jeff Wilson's going to be back. You have Salvin Ahmed, who got hurt last week, who they really like and was playing above A-Chain before this. You have, between those 3 guys there and him, and there was no Waddle last week, and they scored 70 points. Like, I like A-Chain. In best ball, I have him in a few leagues. But right now, to spend a substantial amount of fab on a guy in a significant timeshare where they're not going to score 70 points again allowed. Now, do I think he's good? Yes. Do I think he could possibly win this position? Yes. Would I spend a portion of my fab on him to have him on my team and see where it goes? Yes.
I don't think that A-Chain will fully take the position as long. And I say this very wide-eyed, and I say this praying that nothing happens. I've been doing this for a long time in terms of working in the fantasy football industry. I've been doing this for a long time, ladies and gentlemen. 6 years on the books, okay? 6 years as a content creator. And I'm telling you, the must start, it eventually goes out.
The train doesn't make all the stops.
Look, with Mostert, when you're running damn near 22, 23 fucking miles per hour, okay? When you're running the speed of what cars drive in a fucking residential neighborhood, all right? Your body it takes a toll on your body. But hamstrings can't keep constantly taking that. And we've seen this with Mostert from his years in San Fran, et cetera, et cetera.
Last year.
It's okay. It's okay to have A-Chain. I dropped in a league where I got a $200 fab. I dropped 45 to bring him back, to the team.
So you dropped like 20% of your fab, 30% of your fab.
Yeah. To me, that's fair. To me, I feel like I can get away with that.
Yeah.
I would be willing to even do $60, $70 on 70 fab on that. I think that this is a guy that you can go out, grab, even stash. You could grab him and then even trade him right away, like Hop did here for the JT whole thing.
Yeah. Or, let's face it, there's a lot of running back desperate people right now.
Yeah.
This is a desperate
Fantasy
time for
football
people.
is a game of leverage, and trading isn't. It's not necessarily as much as it's about the players that are offered.
Yeah.
It's about your mouthpiece, and it's about what you can sell.
Yeah.
Use your mouthpiece. You'll be good. If you can raise a shorty, you can pull off a trade.
Yeah. Shit. It's just one of those things though where you also have to be mindful. Like one team made a higher claim for Ford on me, and pretty much now my season could be rocky. You know what I mean?
No,
You can knock some people out early by
he
doing
made
this.
he made that bid for Ford. That allows you to where, because he spent that money, he can't spend that again. You can now get a chain. When Kareem Hunt takes over, he looks stupid for spending all the freaking money on Ford, and now you look like a genius because if something ever were to take place to the lead there, Mostert, you're already saved, and you probably will get away with maybe even spending less for a chain than what he blew on Ford. So it's okay. It's a-okay. This question came into my DMs. I went ahead and I sent George the link. George, what is good, bro, man? Big shout out to literally one of my favorite followers, one of my favorite YouTube subscribers. Big shout out to George. He checks us out over on Rumboyz as well, so I'm happy that we could convert him and bring him over here. I've got a Tua Waddle stack. The Tyreek Hill owner wants Tua. Do I trade Tua and Aaron Jones to get Barkley and Christian Watson and then start Jordan Love for the stack, or hold what I've got? Only other option is to do Tua and Pacheco for Barkley straight up, and then have Pollard, Jones, and Barkley plus Diggs and Waddle, and he can still play Love. I don't think that you can get rid of Tua.
With the way Tua's playing right now, it's kind of hard to pivot off him to get another like injured running back. And as much as I love Barkley, like right now he's been performing as he's an RB1, but he's probably like 7 to like 12. They don't use him enough in the passing game right now for you to kind of like think of him like Christian McCaffrey. Like we were hoping he'd be like how they use Christian McCaffrey. They don't use him like that anymore. Like in his rookie season, yes. Now they don't use him enough in the passing game for me to want to move off of Tua, especially when they're pretty strong at running back already.
And what I don't want to happen in your situation, George, is that you make the Tyreek Hill manager significantly stronger than what he may already be.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think that
Waddle. Like you have that stack, and like you have the counter to his Hill is like, listen, Waddle in any week could do what Hill does.
I could see you and this guy possibly it being you two in the finals, you two in the Super Bowl, and you two having to. Teeth are gonna go missing. Black eyes will be had. Like it's gonna be a dogfight. If this guy has the lineup that you're stating and some of the players you're stating to be able to make this trade happen, it's gonna be you two in the finals. And I don't think that I want to make the person I'm gonna be facing in the finals getting stronger. I don't think
I was gonna say the thing about fantasy football is much like NBA basketball. Usually, if you trade a bunch of players and picks for a player, the side that got the better player usually won because you have a limited number of spots that you can start. Now, especially in redraft, you want to condense your team as much as possible. So then all these waiver wire guys, they're at the bottom of your bench, and come the end of the season now, you have all the fucking hot guys and you have all the studs. And now how do they beat you? So the goal is to condense the roster, not to expand the roster, unless you have
what I want to say, final thing, that just to answer your question, George, aside from making anything that can help make his roster stronger, is bro, I was about to say something so astute and it was gonna sound so amazing. And then it just it was here and just went. It was here, bow. Flew right over towards those mountains, right over there, right over towards them Denver mountains. No, George, I think that you have an amazing team. You have a great team. I'm not sure about even bringing on Watson right now. Christian,
I
that
do.
is. With that being said and stated, you can't give up Tua. Oh, now I remember what I was going to say. If you are going to give up Tua, bleed his roster dry.
Yeah.
If you are giving up Tua,
Yeah.
bleed him dry. Make it to where I'll give you Tua. That's all you're getting, but you're going to give me 3. Give me 3. Don't not 2. You're giving me 3 players. You're giving me 2. So you're giving me two kind of what you were saying, 2 studs, and you're giving me a depth piece.
And I'll say this, with your Jordan Love, you're getting QB3 and QB4 right now, and Jordan Love has been super consistent. Maybe you do deal Tua, but just not to the guy that has Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
And get somebody else that can get
And
you
bleed
what
someone
you
else's
actually
roster
need.
dry, weaken their roster.
I agree with your thought process of you have Love, you have Tua. Tua has that injury history. You maybe want to move off of the riskier alleged proposition because we don't know what Love is going to be. It's a crapshoot. So.
Another friend and I gaslighted him into believing Taylor wasn't going to return with the production last year. Yeah, sometimes you got to use that tactic. I hope my friend get AJ Brown for Kelly and Kurt, and he helped me get JT. Both trades were from the same guy, by the way. So you found the league sucker. You found the league sucker, and now you just go, just eat. You just eat. Taco, give me your running back that you want to be picked up off waivers. I said it's Shane. Who do you got?
I mean, I think right now it has to be for me. I'm looking at Roshan Johnson. Still see he's at 30%, or 40 something percent rostered here on Yahoo. It's kind of getting crazy out here, and I just like his talent. And that offense is still kind of a mess, but Herbert, I don't think is really pulling away. And I think as we get deeper into the season, it's going to favor Johnson to getting more of an opportunity and really taking a substantial portion of that backfield, which at this point in fantasy football is all you could freaking ask for, because there's no such thing as a bell cow because they get hurt. I don't want to talk about Nick Chubb.
And on that Roshan stance, I've been telling you all to go get Roshan. I was saying this during the offseason. I have drastic amounts of Roshan Johnson exposure, probably somewhere close to like 23, 24%, somewhere around there. With that being said and stated, I am in agreement with Taco. Surprisingly, Roshan is rosterable. Roshan's his rosterability is only going up week after week. Khalil Herbert is more so the pass catching back. He's keeping you with stable 11 to 14 point floors, which isn't bad, but it's not great. It's not like, you know what I mean? I feel like Roshan is definitely going to fully eventually take over. So yes, I'm in agreement with that. I want to get into wide receivers. Of who should be picked up, who everyone needs to be heading, before they head to bed, they need to put in waiver wires for. George, I still think that it matters. I wouldn't, if you're going to follow that belief, you gotta be going from the tactic of give me 2 players and a bench spot. Give me 2 players and a solid bench piece.
George, you remember with that Tank Dell, baby, we riding, baby, we riding.
Oh yeah, we're riding. Yeah,
that's why you don't need to make that move right now with his cause and what you got him and what his opportunity is right now. I'd rather ride with him, and if you could upgrade at quarterback, if you can get yourself Hurts, then maybe go take 2 and go get yourself a Hurts. Upgrade yourself at quarterback.
Hey, the theme of this show is shake it off, and this is how you'll be able to shake it off. Having Tank Dell as a flex, absolutely love. We talked about on episode 3, so I don't want to run the gas out of the Abrams tank just yet.
Next question though.
How much fab out of my 100 do I spend on Tank? I've got 35. I got a $35 bid right now. Do I need to up that? I would up it by 5, maybe. I'd play it at 40. Oh, but it's $100. Fuck.
That's
$100 ones are always so tough.
Yeah, that's where I got screwed last week. So last week I put for Ford like
Leave it at 35.
38, and someone bid 40 something on him, and I got killed because now I don't have a running back. But when you look at your team, I don't go like crazy because there's always some guy that's gonna get dropped that you're gonna be able to, like, what I like to do and what we like to do, and what we talked about last week is like I was grabbing Tank Dell last week when he was 4% rostered, stashing him at the end of my bench when I put a guy on out, and now instead of spending fab, you got him. So I would probably say spend right about that, maybe a little bit more, not more than 40%, and then kind of just keep refining the bottom of your roster as the season goes on. You'll find another guy, especially as you get close to the playoffs, because it sounds like you're an automatic playoff team. So that's all that really matters now, is making sure your playoff roster is ready.
Let's go back, like we were saying, kind of getting into the receivers that we want to waiver.
Yep.
I think there's a conversation right now that needs to be had, and we're going to head over to the West Coast to best coast, west, best. We're going to take a trip over to Los Angeles and visit the Powder Blue, the Chargers. Quentin Johnson, Josh Palmer, Mike Williams goes down with the injury in week 3. Heading into week 4, this team has to get the ball somewhere. They have to score touchdowns. They have to figure out ways to win football games. Which of these 2 wide receivers do you think fantasy managers should be going out and putting more claims in? Is it Quentin Johnson? Is it Josh Palmer? George, he says support the man Taco. You're supporting Bob Lung right now. This is just our show on Bob Lung's channel. This is not Taco's channel. And this is clearly not mine. This is Bob Lung's.
So we still appreciate that, baby. We still appreciate that. We about to win more money, baby, just like last year.
Let's go. But no, Quentin Johnson, Josh Palmer. I already have my belief system. What is yours?
So, and everybody coming into this season, especially when you look at where Quentin Johnson was drafted, has full belief that Quentin Johnson would be the number 3 receiver coming out of camp. That Quentin Johnson was going to be his integral part of this offense. And what we actually saw was the guy last year who did step up and play when Mike Williams went down, got that role as a number 3 off the bat, consistently was running routes and has consistently been on the field. With that being said, he's been consistently It's like Jello. Like it's like Jello when you're sick. Like, okay, it's like it's just nice, but I would like some ice cream. Can we add some whipped cream? Can we get some other things on it? Like I'd like a little bit more out of you. And I just feel like with Palmer, he's gonna be the guy that most people are probably going to gravitate towards putting that fab on. And I would preach staying the course here, especially if you can get him at a little bit lower fab, and staying with Johnson, because now he's going to actually start playing in those 3 receiver stats where he wasn't playing. And then if you're telling me it's an opportunity of him versus Palmer now in the rest of the season with them both out there running, I would say, okay, initially maybe he's not going to be there, but by the end of the year, I expect this kid who they drafted pretty high, who you expect for them to try and figure a way to get involved, is going to be the one at the end of the day that's going to be making a mark and making a name for himself. So while most people will probably spend on Palmer, and while Palmer might initially look like the probably better fab play, I'd be putting my waiver and my fab on Johnson first, Palmer second, and try and get the upside long-term play on that offense, because I want a portion of that team. I still put in a claim for Palmer. I still try to say, hey, if I miss out on Johnson, I'll take Palmer because maybe he can keep it going. But I just don't believe in Palmer long-term, and I'd rather bet on the upside and the talent of Johnston.
Okay. Solid take. For me, this one is tough, because as a film analyst, I was high on Josh Palmer coming in. I wouldn't say high. I was appreciative towards the things that he could bring to a team, that he could bring to the Chargers. Yeah, I feel like that's a better way of me kind of outlining that. With that being said, with that being stated, Quentin Johnson was drafted fairly high. We did see the flashes in the preseason of Quentin Johnson. I know that's here, that's came, that's gone. I don't know. I want Johnson to outplay Palmer. I feel like Johnson should probably get the opportunities and should probably be the guy. Palmer, so far, they're putting out there. They're giving him the snaps. They're giving him the targets. I'm not going crazy fab on either one. I think that you should be putting in waivers for either. And whoever you end up with, that's who just who you're riding with. For me, I am more so of the Quentin Johnson believer at this juncture. I know that there was that body catching issue, which had forced me to not be high on QJ. But you drafted a kid. He showed some good hands. He showed some good flashes in the preseason. Bruh, it's your time to rise up. It's your time to go out there and be a guy. Palmer, we kind of already know what we're going to get out of him. You already know what you're going to get out of Palmer. If you've already rostered Joshua Palmer before in the past and redraft, I don't know if maybe you're going out there and putting in that waiver claim and expect him to go out there and be some world beater for you, or expect him to be able to be slid into the flex for you. I see QJ eventually kind of forcing his way and taking over. We already know about Josh Palmer, and like Taco said, it's like Jello. It's just boring. So yeah, I mean, but you need to be putting in claims for either or, and probably put Palmer as a priority. Hope that someone doesn't pick up KJ. If KJ's still available on the waiver wire for you, then you'll be able to kind of get away and navigate from there. Really quick, just to give you guys some context, Palmer is rostered in 9% of leagues. Palmer's rostered in 9% of leagues. He got you 17 fantasy points following Mike Williams. Was targeted 7 times, caught 4 of them. So you get that. Huh?
He did have a fumble as well.
He did. QJ is 52% rostered. I'm sure the dynasty community definitely has a say so in that. Quentin Johnson has been 7% started throughout the 3 weeks. He hasn't really done much. It's been 3 targets week 1, 2 targets week 2, 3 targets week 3. With no Mike Williams, maybe possibly a larger role develops here for Quentin Johnson.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We did we kind of would touch on the receivers. Is there any other receiver that you really want to touch on? Like I probably not.
I mean, right now, I mean, the Tank Dell thing, we were beating on that from last week. So if he's still available, I would definitely grab him. And the other guy I saw, because he was out last week and he had the bad week before, Zay Jones was dropped in a few leagues, 37% roster on Yahoo. If he's still available, I would sneak him at the end of my roster. Last one that I'll touch on, KJ Osborne. He's been sneaky. He is like an immediate desperate flex. He's currently wide receiver 47 in 1-point PPR leagues with no kind of bonuses or frills. But he's been pretty solid. He has I was gonna say 2 touchdowns on the season, 101 receiving yards. Kind of desperation flex. KJ Osborne could be a very solid guy. He's rostered in 10%.
Been some stable floors. He's been giving you a stable floor. Wide receiver 47, 18% rostered on sleeper, 4% started. So
look at this. He had 6 in week 1, 12.4 in week 2, and 10.6 in week 3. Now he did get the two touchdowns, but I forgot who was saying this to me, but he's basically playing the Adam Thielen role from last year, so he could have a consistent role in the red zone, which is that nice little fun addition to your stat line.
I like this question here from Stephen L. Stephen says, Judy, Slant Boy, or Hollywood? This is a damn good
For
question here.
this week coming up, ooh, that's a great question. Let me just
Look, Hollywood back-to-back 20-point fantasy games, wide receiver 26. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Robbie, how'd you feel about Hollywood coming to the season? Because I know
I was so low on Hollywood. I was very, very low on Hollywood.
We need to clip the pre-draft that we had because Robbie massacred me.
I have that clip. I have that underdog clip. Look, and everyone got upset. Everyone got upset on that live stream over on our YouTube channel. So yeah, bro, like, no, good call out by you. I mean, the ball has to go somewhere, and clearly the ball is going to Hollywood in Arizona. I think Hollywood could even be a solid flex trade target for you guys if you're able to go ahead and pull that one off. Just because a lot of like the casual fan bases, they're probably not going in and looking at all the stats and things of that nature. They're just looking at, oh, he plays for Arizona. Let me hurry up and get rid of him. I wouldn't be shocked if Hollywood Brown is a league winner.
Now, the only thing is he talking about this week? Because this week he does get that 49ers defense. Now they've had some games where they've had the receivers have some solid games, but then
But you're not going to play Michael Thomas. So like I don't.
But Judy, I think is a legitimate question.
But Judy's not. What? After the Broncos got fucking butt raised.
They did. I don't care. He still had 5 catches for 81 yards. And he's facing Chicago, and he's going to be a focal point of the offense.
I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. We are not doing picks or anything. I wouldn't be shocked if fucking Chicago beat the brakes off of Denver.
Maybe.
Like, dog, I'm not.
All I'm saying is I don't love that 49ers matchup for Hollywood Brown and that team. I do expect the 49ers to come out and do what they do and be monsters and say, oh, y'all think it's cute. Yeah, y'all beat Cowboys last week. We're going to show you how this gets done. So, personally, I would gladly take
Judy. I would gladly take a 20 to 17 point game out of Hollywood being force fed against the 49ers defense versus play an inconsistent Judy or play Michael Thomas with the backup quarterback. The Caleb Williams Bowl. It is essentially the Caleb Williams Bowl. Yeah. I'm not a Judy fan. I'm just not. I'm not. Like I've seen that man play live twice and still was not impressed. Like still.
That one, I think it's just which matchup do you feel more comfortable on? And again, you could argue either way here. This is the data right now points, I would say, to
Hollywood. Data points to Hollywood. Data favors Hollywood. Any tight ends that you feel like need to be picked up?
If Luke Musgrave is still available, I'm going to still beat this drum as I have before. But I see some guys, you guys haven't gotten Tank Dell before. I'm not coming off of this one. Luke Musgrave's time on field and the amount of targets that he's running.
He's tight end 10. He's tight end 10. He's
rostered in 19% of Yahoo leagues.
Like I'll give you that. I'll give you that. He's tight end 10.
You know what I mean? Like and to me, it's like he is not going to continue to be available, and people can't keep overlooking him. I get that now with Watson coming back, the dynamic is going to shift, but the receivers are going to be more of the guys are going to be off field because he plays tight end. His kind of time on field is kind of secure. The question is, as his season rolls on, we expect the role to hopefully progress and for him to get a couple touchdowns. But right now at 19% on Yahoo, Luke Musgrave in redraft leagues is someone, if I need a tight end, because I'm pretty sure that you don't have a tight end that's as good as him, or if you could put him as your backup tight end, he's a guy that I'm taking.
For me, Donald Parham. Donald Parham on offense where the ball is obviously getting spread around. Week 1, 16.2. Week 2, not had a low week, but then turns around again, 16.4. Tight end 6 on the league, only 2% rostered. The ball's going to have to go somewhere. I could see this team with not having Mike Williams, maybe having to revert to a lot of jumbo sets, 2 tight end spreads. If we start seeing, you know, and he's also a red zone guy. They always target him in the red zone. I'm actually kind of liking that. I'm kind of liking that. Kincaid or Musgrave in full PPR. Woo! Probably Musgrave.
That is very tough. And like, listen, Kincaid is rostered in 73% of leagues.
But he's tight end 21. He's
Yeah.
tight end 21. He has to play against Miami this week.
Yeah, I mean, for this week, I'm starting Musgrave. I wouldn't drop either one of them. I'm keeping them both.
Yeah, both. Yeah. God, tight ends and running backs are so disgusting this year. The tight end position is always a wasteland. And the running back position is becoming very barren. Let's see. We did quarterbacks, we did running backs, we did receivers, we took care of our tight ends. I do want to shout out just a quick fantasy defense that I feel like you guys might be able to go out there and get. You guys might be able to go out there and roster. I find this one fairly interesting, just from the standpoint of like have them just sitting out there. Here, just give me 1 second. I wanna just make sure I get this all right for you guys. Boop. All right. So for me, Indianapolis Colts, they got to play the Rams this week. I know a lot of people are probably like, oh, no, not the Rams. Fuck that. No, dude, for real. Give me Colts defense, top 5 defense right now, and they're 5%. So if you guys need a fantasy defense, go and grab the Colts. That's all I wanted to say for fantasy defenses.
For me, I would say Tampa Bay defense is going to be facing New Orleans, who is going to be switching from Carr to Winston. I think that we saw in that game versus Fields, this Tampa defense still has some dogs out there that can get the job done. Currently, their defense number 5 on the season. I don't mind that matchup, especially when you look at their only 29% roster. I think that's a decent shot this week.
I mean, yeah, 5. Depending on of course your scoring.
Right. In more standard.
Right now I have Tampa as 6. So yeah. Higgins for Waddle. Mariano. That's tough. That's
not even a question for me. I want a piece of that Miami offense.
I'm keeping Waddle.
Them boys.
There's
something wrong with the Bengals right now, and I don't know if they rushed Joe Burrow back, and this is a byproduct of all of that. But there's something wrong in Cincinnati.
You rushed Joe Burrow. Higgins only tallied 2 receptions last night. He was targeted 8 times and fucking just had massive drops. I mean, which is kind of where you can buy low on Higgins right now, but you're not. Both players, you know, Waddle had to deal with the concussion, so he's coming off of that. Waddle's wide receiver 59 on the year. He hasn't been really, giving you a lot of high, fantasy numbers. I think that's where things kind of where things kind of get tough. I mean, they have to play Buffalo on a Monday night, so that is plenty of time to where Waddle could come back. For a trade, I'm keeping Waddle. In regards to who I'm going to play, if I have both, if Waddle's healthy, I'm running out Waddle.
And if the guy wants to give you Waddle for Higgins because he doesn't like the fact that Waddle's hurt, do that. Give up Higgins and get Waddle.
And kind of with Higgins, with that, he comes back healthy, and if he's good, things are fine. Oh, he got banged up last night. And then he stepped back out there and played a little bit again. If for me, this is kind of tough. This is tough. We know that Higgins is gonna go out there and ball. Like they got to play Tennessee next. Higgins isn't gonna put up another week like he did last week. I mean, like he will, but it's not gonna be. They're not gonna be back to back week. They're not gonna be back to back weeks. Would you take Indy over Dallas? Here's the thing. Here's the problem with Dallas's defense is that Dallas's defense for the first 2 weeks early in the year, week 1, week 2, looked like a defense with fresh legs. Them not having Trayvon is clearly that was a glaring issue, which Arizona was able to expose. I probably do take Indy over Dallas. I could see Dallas starting at Dallas. I know it's early in the season. I could see Dallas beginning to Dallas. I could see that offense not doing enough to put that defense in a position to be a top fantasy football defense. I feel like Dallas, you always got to take precaution on. You always got to take precaution on Dallas. For me, I would take Indy over Dallas. Yeah, Higgins had a lot of drops. He practically dropped like 80% of what was thrown to him. Targeted 8 times, only caught 2. He had a lot of drops. And that's not that's uncharacteristic of T. Higgins. We saw in week 2 he's targeted 12, caught 8. I'm sticking by T. I'm sticking by T. Higgins. I don't think that you can just be like, oh my gosh, he had a bad night, he had a bad game. Your quarterback is also throwing on a bad calf. The Bengals just looked a little rough last night. It is what it is. T. Higgins looked a little rough last night. It is what it is. I'm still having full faith. Let's see. We went through waiver wires. I'm trying to think of a couple of things here in the end. Chat has been amazing tonight. Greatly appreciate the chat. The chat is the shit right now. Trying to think. This basically became like a giant AMA session. And everything I wanted to discuss, the chat helped us discuss.
True story. I mean, it's questions that a lot of people have that we like to answer, or we know we should answer. That's what a good show does.
Mm-hmm. Interact with the chat, answer questions, and then also gets the chat to like, comment, subscribe, and share the content.
And make sure that you guys are up on what's coming around, guys that you should be targeting, guys that you should be aware of, and be careful with that fab. Remember, we're only in week 4. If you're gonna make it to the playoffs and the finals, and next thing you know, you're battling for that one guy that's on fab, and your guy has no fab, and you have everything, and all of a sudden you win your championship because now you can get that guy. Because you're making these picks. Because here's the thing. I'm not saying you need to spend fab every week because we're picking up the Tank Dells and the Luke Musgraves before they blow up, keeping them on the roster at that last spot, or someone went out. Now we can put someone on that bottom of our team, and we just keep riding like that and fucking just keep going, keep building each week. You are your weakest link. Your weakest link always needs to be updated and revamped. And sometimes you don't need to hold on to a guy that really doesn't have as much upside at the bottom of your roster, where you can get those guys like A-Chain, get those guys like Tank Dell, who are the young upstart guys who look like they have a chance to have a pivotal role in the offenses going forward.
No, absolutely. There is one more. There is a quick a trade kind of talk / target that I want to throw out there. And I know that it was brought up about tight ends being kind of like a wasteland right now. Do not be afraid to go and trade for Sam Laporta.
Ooh.
Don't be afraid to be like, hey, yo, here's Jahan Dotson. Can I get Sam Laporta from you? Here's Dotson and and Zach Ertz. I know Ertz had a rough week, but he's tight end 14 on the league. But then I'm also going to give you this flex. Let me get Laporta. Don't be afraid to throw that offer out there. That's my Sam Laporta take for the night.
Man, listen, I'm in love with some Laporta. Just saying. I got him in my home league. Like in that one league, I got boxed out of tight end, and I literally said, screw it, I'm taking the dive. And I dove all the way down to Sam Laporta being my number 1 tight end out the draft. So
yeah, or do like a Ertz and a fucking Tyler Boyd and bring back Laporta. Ooh. Like, and I feel like in redraft, you can really make that work because they're not realizing what the flex piece really just being a toss in. And they're thinking that they're equating getting, a decent tight end, but then they're thinking, okay, but I'm also still getting this piece and I'm probably getting my ass kicked at my flex spot and I need to get out of someone in my flex. Don't be afraid to do it.
I also, if you can get him now, maybe at a reduced price, Waller might be someone. I don't think the Giants' offense is going to be this bad the whole season, and he hasn't really produced what you expected. So some managers might be freaking out a little bit. So if you could do like what Robbie said, is give up a Ertz and a Boyd and go get you back a Waller and say, fuck it, I'm going to bank on him for the rest of the season to kind of come back around. At the worst, I fucking lost Ertz and Boyd. Like, you know what I mean? Like, kind of like see what you can finagle out of that. Because I know a lot of Waller rosters are probably like, yeah. But at this point in time, with his talent and that position being what it is, I'd much rather grab me a Luke and try and trade for one of these upper guys to turn around. If you can get a Hawkinson, if you can get, even a Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews hasn't gone off yet. If you can maybe get the person that has him feeling like unsecured because he had the injury and then he hasn't been good, and you can get him for lesser. I think those are 2 guys also to make a pivot on, because tight end is a tight position, and if by the end of the league you can have a difference maker there, that'll be great for your team.
No, absolutely. Guys, the name of this episode was Shake It Off. Shake it off. Shake it off. We did this one for all of the everyone that got hype over the news this weekend about them 2 dating.
I gotta add something out for them. You know what? You guys need to calm down. You know what I mean? Y'all being too loud. Like chill, boys. Like it's a week 4. Like, you know what I mean? Like chill.
But for real, shake it off. Shake it off. We're all going to get fantasy wins this week and be beating on the glass like Swifty at freaking Arrowhead, okay? I promise you guys.
Or like DeAndre Swift in your fantasy lineups right now. Yeah. Make sure you're starting him. I know a lot of people fell off him, but
oh yeah. He's started everywhere. I think he has like 100% start rate. Actually, I think it is 100%.
I think my one boy had him on the bench. I was like, what the hell are you doing, guy? Because a lot of people were worried because the week 1 was so bad. So,
if he had him on his bench, he probably like got drunk and forgot to put him in or something. Because like DeAndre Swift is 83.
That was that guy.
Yeah, he's 83% started. So like 83% of the world.
17% of y'all need to get the coffee going.
Exactly, get it together. Like you do not have a better back than that in your lineup. Yep. Other than that, I feel like that's like everything that we have, bro. Like I
got one little shot then. I don't know if we're going to call it an upset, but I think Houston could beat Pittsburgh this week.
Take Houston to cover and just play it safe. If you feel like they can beat Pittsburgh, take them to cover, and then that way, like even if they lose, you're like, but then they cover, you're like, hey, like you're good.
It's at Houston. They're a little bit hot. The Pittsburgh offense doesn't look that great. And if CJ Stroud can keep rolling, it's going to be hard for Pittsburgh, I think, to keep up. Question is, how good can that defense be this week? That's the question.
Yeah. That's a tough question to answer. I mean, you're talking about Houston's defense. Houston defense has to be able to try and keep up. It's a 3-point spread.
I mean, look at what they did last week versus, Jacksonville. I don't think that Pittsburgh is a better offense than Jacksonville.
I think Houston can cover 5. I don't think that 3 seems a little too close.
It's a 5-point spread? Damn,
It's a 3-point spread. It's a 3-point spread. I think, but
Yeah.
I think that Houston can cover 5. I don't know about them covering 3.
Yeah.
So yeah. Other than that, Goal Line Goons for all the dogs. Be sure to check out BigGuyFantasySports.com. You see the link right there. Check out all the staff's articles. Check out all of our other podcasts. And to our YouTube channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And also on BigGuysFantasySports.com, our tools, like week to week, that consistency ranking tool is really, really going to help you.
Yeah. One tool that I focus on is the consistency forecaster to kind of highlight some of these matchups, especially with the flex plays. I'm going to be dropping an article probably like Friday, Saturday again, getting you ready with more accurate, injury information so we can see who's these guys that we kind of want to plug into our roster. We're going to be kind of stashed at the back end of our roster for the next week.
Hell yeah. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Goal Line Goons. I'm Robbie. That's Taco. Y'all already know what it is. For all the dogs.
We chasing.
Preaching on the, yeah.